Good morning. Today is October 10th, 2022, and I am going to Pikeview again. So never say never. It's sort of like a James Bond movie. I met this guy on a Facebook group. His name is Ed, and he responded to a post I put out saying that I didn't have very good luck this year. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, and he responded back and saying, why don't I go out fishing with you and I'll show you some tips on how I go fishing here in Colorado Springs, and you'll be able to catch a lot of great fish using this method in any of the lakes and reservoirs around Colorado Springs. And he picked Pikeview to teach me some tricks and to show me what I am possibly doing wrong. So if you don't know how to get to Pikeview, make sure to watch my other video that is titled Never Again to learn how to get there. Make sure you watch that after this video.
If you want simple, I'm going to show you a couple ways to tie up your line and to set up for using the power baits and worms and crawlers. This is a basic setup you can use to catch stalkers anywhere. This is a bait setup. I call it a dropper rig. It's a cinch knot. 2, 3, 4, 5. Go through that loop, which is around your finger, and back through. Wet it. Cinch it down. That knot never breaks. A lot of guys will tie a swivel at that point. I do not. Any extra knot or a swivel, to me, you're just making another knot that can break. I use 6-pound tests from 10 inchers to 10 pounders, and I've never lost a fish because of that. I don't use leaders because of the fact, for me, why would you use heavier line and then tie a lighter line on the end of that? It doesn't make any sense. I understand it for saltwater maybe, but for freshwater, I mean, for a fly guy, you have to do that. Granny knot there. And this way of doing this, you can give the fish two options when it comes to bait color and bait selection. I've been using this since I was a kid. All right. So you're going to take one hook, go here. When they do this, you can use it for power bait. You can use it for salmon eggs. You tighten that, then cinch that down. You want it to try and be sticking out like that. You're going to put that one in here. Do the same thing. Kind of a noose kind of deal. Tighten it up. And there you go. That's your basic setup for trout fishing. Generally, in all my life, when power bait came out, I always use a lighter color here and a darker color there. Next one is a slip rig. The young guys these days call them a Carolina rig, which is a bass term. It was always a slip rig. Use this rig. A lot of guys will tie a swivel here. A swivel, to me, I used to do, but I quit doing it because I can't change depth with a swivel on my slip rig. You can use the bullet weights or one of these. And what I do is I use a split shot as a stop. That way I can change depths depending on the fish. You see that? A split shot will slide. It's not affecting the line. It's not hurting the thickness. But there you go. I use that up at the big fish lakes and small fish lakes. You can use that for walleye, just about anything. I tie my own hooks on here. I use barbless or circles like I showed you earlier. That way they're not, if they do swallow it, I can remove the hook easier, or it'll get them in the side of the jaw. I basically use my night crawlers on this setup. You do up in South Park and those big fish lakes or bigger fish lakes, you can use power bait on this rig, You can go as short a leader or as long a leader as you want with this rig. Like I said, it's a slip rig. Today I'm going to try for catfish here at Prospect. We'll see if there's any left. I am using a swivel there because I'm using an inline hook. So we'll see what happens there today. Catfish, you want a rig like this. This is basically the main catfish rig I've used my whole life. It works.
Why do you let the weight slide up and down?
Because of the fact when the fish hits that, Mark, when the fish grabs the hook, this weight's going to be sitting on the bottom. With power bait, this is going to be floating up here.
Okay.
When the fish grab this, he's going to pull it. He's going to feel this split shot, and it transfers the bite sensitivity to the end of the hook or the end of the pole. It's going to see you're going to see it on the end of your pole before this weight moves. Especially with these stalkers. These stalkers, I call them little piranha, because they will hit your bait like wham, 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 wham. So you're going to see this, and it's the same thing with a catfish bait. You want the fish with a catfish. This is a smaller weight because it's not windy, and this is a smaller lake. You don't need distance always. Depends on how deep the lake is and where you're fishing. This is going to be laying on the bottom with a hot dog that I drenched in garlic liquid. But the catfish is going to take this and swim away. Because catfish usually hit a bait and sit there. They'll hit it. Sometimes your line will go slack and it won't move, because he's sitting there trying to digest that bait. Believe it or not, you'll pick that pole up after you see that initial bite. Sometimes I'll even leave my drag loose so he can swim away. You'll tighten it and set the hook, and more often than not, there's a catfish on there. But that's about all I got for setups. Like I said, this is the easiest and best way to catch stalkers. Let's get to fishing.
Okay, we're gonna head over to the dock. Okay, so this is much different than when I was here a month ago.
I'm gonna go to the left.
Okay, I'll go to the right. All right, we're gonna get set up on the leaning dock.
Boat that's turning.
This is called the leaning dock of Pisa.
It feels like a boat.
Okay, I got my line set up just like Ed's. Instead at the bottom, I just use my swivel for the weight like that, which is gonna be fine. I'm gonna put my yellow at the bottom hook, and then the top hook, so green label. I'm gonna use that.
Guess what? They don't work any better than those. I was gonna bring some small.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I did. Okay.
Now,
there we go.
make sure you don't have any slack in that line.
No slack.
See, when you get a bite, you want it to transfer to the tip of your rod immediately. Hit it.
Oh,
Hit
got a bite.
I think you missed it.
No, I didn't.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
There you go. GoPro on?
Yep. Okay. We're getting the first bite of the day.
Yeah, you got to set the hook. We'll see what he bit on, if it was on the salmon eggs or the power eggs. Yeah, a little stalker. He bit on the power eggs. There you go.
There it is.
Now, always use a trout-friendly net. They're rubber, and they work.
First bite of the day. First catch of the day. So we have been at Pikeview for a few hours now. Had a few bites, caught a fish. I really like the new way that Ed has taught me to rig my line and how to cast out and keeping the line tight. That's really, really important. So I'm looking forward to fishing at some of the other spots here over the next, hopefully next month, until the weather gets too cold. And then there's always next season. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe, like, and ring that bell for future notifications. Have a wonderful day.